Alright everyone, we're on part 3 of this Mercedes front end repair, if you want to call it that. We've got this out over here, pretty easy to do. The wheel bearing, well, just as I suspected, it's bad. Hear that? So I figured that's what was bad on this side also, because you know, you replace one on the front, you might as well do them both. So but the tie rod end, it's in good shape. And this sway bar end link, well, it's okay, but the other one on the other side, it just popped out of its whole housing over there. If you notice on the passenger side, they got this thin like sway bar end link, and there's some confusion of what sway bar end link should be on this vehicle. And you go to the driver's side, and on this side you can see we got something completely different. And this thing just popped out of its housing. I mean, just popped right out. So this is a thicker one. It's got a bend in the bottom. So I'm not sure what sway bar end link goes on this. Someone must have just stuck this on there. But nevertheless, we got the wheel bearing off on the other side. So there is the dust cover. Got it off, no problem. And now on to repairing this one. And when we come back, it'll be all together. Part 2, you saw how I do this. So go back and look at part 2 if you want to see how I changed out this wheel bearing, pressed it in and pressed it out. Oh shucks, I might as well just give you a sneak peek. Here's how I'm doing side 2. Go back and watch side 1 for a step-by-step video how I do this. But I wanted to go ahead and see if this comes out easy. I'm just using some blocks, a socket. We're pushing out this bottom hub, and there it goes. So sorry about the cricket. It's telling me the temperature and telling me also it's going to rain soon. And just like that, pop that out. And also we got to take that race off there, and I show you in that video number 2 on how to do that. And there's my setup basically with the wood and everything. And now we'll go ahead and pick this ring off, pop this bearing out. And when we come back, this one will be all done. So basically, ball bearings, some big ball bearings, that's for sure. So all right, I'll be back here shortly and we'll look at it when it's all done. All right, that's in. Now you can flip it around depending on, you know, your knuckle, your spindle, or whatever. You know, you got tie rod ends that connect to it. They're all different, made differently. So you know, this time I turned it upside down. And I pushed the new bearing upward. I got an old bearing on the top, pushing it on the here, holding it, and the bearing's basically in. All you have to do is put in the spindle, the hub, I should say, and you can see it's pretty much. This thing is so heavy. I can get one hand or not. Maybe I can flip it down here on the floor, and there it is. And you can see it's seated all the way back in there. This bearing is almost done. The hard part is done, so we'll go ahead and push in our little spindle piece here and we'll be done. Hey, let me know where you're watching from right now. Alright, so here's the piece to this puzzle. Just about on. There's a piece on the bottom. I'm going to just take the spindle here and kind of push it together onto the hubby piece, and down we go. And I've got an old bearing on the top pushing it on the center, not on the outside, the center, because if you push on the outside the bearing could come apart, kind of like this, you know, because you want to push on the inside here. And you can tell if you're in a bind, because if you are, this won't spin. Once again, sorry about the cricket. El Nino. There we go. That wheel bearing is done. Both of them now are done. So, like I said, you go back to video number 2 on this Mercedes, and you'll see how I went through step by step by pressing this bearing in. So there's the piece I'm using. Like I said, I have a junk box of stuff I keep. You never know what you're going to need. Throw it in the basement, throw it off to the side, and there we go. A nice fresh hub, making no noise, nice and quiet. And there's something here, you know, I've used off of, actually this is off of Ford Explorer. And that is done. And on the back, you can see the seals nice and good, no tears. And also we got the clip in here, and these things are a bear to get in there. Sometimes you gotta have something pretty big, like I said earlier, like something like this. And I actually took a grinder and made these, and they work really good. That is it. So now we'll go ahead and stick this on. Alright guys, so we're back, and unfortunately you can see we got some rain today, and boom, we are done. This wheel bearing is on. It's all done. I got everything back together. I got the bolt and the axle. The only thing I'm waiting on right now are the brake pads. They should be here hopefully today or tomorrow. And I got some new wire sensors for those pads. But everything went in just like it should. No problems there. And the only thing now where I'm kind of working on are these tie rod ends. This one on this side is good. I don't have any problems using it. I did order one for the driver's side. These things were kind of hard to find because apparently there's some kind of a parts shortage right now. I did get one for the driver's side. It should be here in a couple days, and those things were about $50. So I managed to get one of those. And also on this side, I've got the sway bar end links off, and somebody had the wrong one on here. They had a one for a rear wheel drive, and this vehicle is an all-wheel drive vehicle, and there are two different sway bar end links. And you can see the hole in the top here is a little bit bigger compared to down here on the bottom to this one here. And let me show you what those sway bar end links look like. So here's what these sway bar end links look like. The ones I took off, well, they had one like that on one side, and they had one like this on this side. These here are easy to get. These are just for two-wheel drive. They're only like $30 for two of them, but just for one of these that I needed, well, these were about $100 for both of these. And here is the new one that we got, and you can see the top bolt is bigger than the bottom bolt. Where's at the bottom bolt? But one is bigger than the other, and these are things you got to watch out for when you buy parts like this. So it took me a couple days to straighten this out. So once I get these on and get my pads in and the tie rod in, then we'll be almost done. So it's going slowly, and I just basically cut these off. There's what's left of some of the bolts. This one here, the big one, it just popped out of its whole shell. Almost took my finger off without me even touching it. So these are things you just kind of be careful about. But yeah, get your cutting wheel and just cut these bolts off. It's a lot easier that way, and get you a couple new end links. And look at this. Plastic. I thought they did away with plastic a long time ago. They got some kind of plastic on that one there, and these are non-greasable. So I gotta get these out of the rain, and hopefully we'll get some more parts in and we'll finish this job up. Right, so $100 worth of sway bar end links. You can't mess these up because the big one down here only goes into this hole because it's bigger, and the smaller one actually the bigger one's on the top, and the smaller one is on the bottom, so you can't mess these up. You can see this has got a bend in it right here, so I gotta be careful about that. All I'm waiting for now are the brake pads and this tie rod in on this side. Like you saw in the second video, it was shot, and this one is on, and luckily they do give you a little guy here you can kind of get this started with, and put a ratcheting wrench on here. Then after you get it pretty tight, then you can just take something like this and torque it less weight down. I pretty much got that torqued. So all we're waiting on now is a tie rod in here, and this job will be done. So not too bad overall. Two new wheel bearings. We'll have a new tie rod in. We'll have two sway bar end links and brake pads. All of this, if you have taken it to the Mercedes dealer, $690. So I did all this for about $175 to $80 in parts and a little bit of sweat. So I'll keep my rates a secret for now. But anyway, let's wait on some pads now and finish this job up. And before I get too fancy on you, once I get the sway bar end link on one side, then I'll come to the other side. Typically you have to get like a pipe wrench or something. I'm not a pipe wrench, a big pipe or something. Pull up on this sway bar end link there and kind of lift up on it, and you can start it in up here with this one here. So there's a lot of pressure on here, but this is typically how I did it. So other than that, we're just about done here. So let's wait on some brakes and wrap this video up with a new tie rod in and some brake pads. Alright everyone, we're back with new brakes, so let's go ahead and get the rest of these here off. Taking the caliper off just to speed things up for you guys. And there's that one. Here comes the old one, and unfortunately this one here is no good, the little guy here. But that's alright, we got all four of these for like $10. So here is the new pad on this side. Of course, this rotor's got a little rust on it. I'll clean it up in a little bit, spray something on it, and wipe it off. And here is the back one, and there's where the wire goes in when you put these on. There's a little hole, oops, right there that slides down in like that. Kind of an ingenious thing to have. But what's really kind of bad about this is once you get it to a point that your light comes on, well, you pretty much ruined this wire, so you have to replace it anyway. So we'll go ahead and stick that one back on there like that. And we are pretty much done here, so let's go and get this on. Alright, so you gotta be careful. These little clips here, they like to come off. They actually go on like this. If one of yours pop off, they actually go on like that. And that'll allow you to put this down in here like this. It actually holds it. So now let's go ahead and stick this in, and we can put this caliper on. I've already got the tie rod in on, and we're good to go. And all we gotta do is hook this up. So let's go ahead and finish up here. Alright, so I basically took a press C-clamp, I should say, and pressed that back all the way in, and now we should be able to get our caliper on with no problem. We'll spin this around like it should be, slide that like that, make sure that little wire comes out, and there we go. So pretty easy to get this on. Like I said, the key is when you do these brakes, I guess, go ahead and just order a set of these wires, because if your light is on, you're going to have to replace these wires because they are designed to self-destruct sort of, and you got to replace them. So go ahead and tighten this up here, get this little guy here back in its hole and all that. Alright, so that's snug down, and the bottom one's nice and snug, and all we got to do is plug this little guy here in, and after that we'll be pretty much done. And there it is. So it's out with the old and in with the better, as I like to say. Alright, let's hit the other side. I'll go ahead and clean this surface rust off with some brake clean, and then we'll go to the other side. So see you back here shortly. Alright, so on this side we got the back pad set up here with a little wire, and I'll go ahead and push this one in here. Real easy to do. Man, what a difference in thickness, huh? Should last quite some time. And really all we gotta do is slide our caliper over here, get this on, fish this up through the hole, and I pushed it all the way back into its bore with the C-clamp. And at this point we're just about done here. So there's that. Just turn around, and there we go. You probably couldn't see a thing because my arm was in the way, but anyway, it's all in. So now this side, I don't have the wire that comes down from up in here. There's a secondary wire, or a plug if you will, that comes down and wraps around here. It's missing. I looked in the trunk. I thought maybe someone just threw it in there, but someone probably hit something on this side, because I found this inner tie rod end down here slightly bent a little bit, so someone either jacked it up under the tie rod end or they hit something over here. But nevertheless, this wire is missing, and these are not interchangeable, so I'll have to look on eBay, but this is not too big of a deal, although the brake light still might be on. So what are you going to do? So we'll put some tape over the end of this here so the water doesn't get in it for now, and kind of fish it back in here out of the way, and we'll look for another one. But other than that, we'll go ahead and put the wheel on, and we're just about done here, and we got the tie rod in on. But before I put the wheel on, I got to thinking, what's the point of even having this on here if it's not going to do us any good? It could get damaged, so we're just going to put this back out of the way for now, and we'll deal with this wire if we can find another one later. Like I said, take the wheel off, take 10 minutes, put it back on, and you're done. And also, before I put the wheel on, here's the old tie rod in. If you didn't watch part 1 and 2 of my videos, of course this is part 3, See how bad this tie rod in is? It's pretty bad. It's making some noise, so that's why we replaced it. Like I said, this model, they make two different types. They make a tie rod in for an all-wheel drive. They make one for a sport, and they make one for a sedan. So make sure you get the right one. There is a difference. You have to look down here on the end. So that is done. And of course, there's always something I'm afraid I'm going to forget. Make sure your wires are put back in the little clips and so forth, especially your brake line here. Make sure that little rubber thing there is kind of pushed back into that hole, and that way all this stuff will stay together and you won't have any problems with anything rubbing or causing any leaks down the road. Alright, so we'll check the back brakes while we're at it here. And to get these off, we need a 16mm socket. And there's a couple of bolts in the back here. And once we get these here off, this whole thing will slide out, and usually they come off pretty easy, but these are actually wore out, especially the inner one here. Let's see, the outer one. The inner one seems to be okay, but nevertheless, we'll go ahead and replace these. And these are held in by a pin right here that we have to kind of knock out there and get that out of the way. Alright, so in order to get these out, I'm just taking a small nail. You can take a small punch and you knock this pin back out of the way. And when you do that, get your pair of vice grips and just kind of knock that back in there like that. And that's how that went. And now we can just kind of pull these out of the way. And now we can get our brake pads out. Interesting. And knock this one out here. I'm probably going to have to push this piston back just a little bit. It looks, well, probably a little bit. It looks like it's back quite a ways. Let's see. Yeah, this one here I'll have to push back in. And then we'll put our new pads in. So get you a piece of wood like that and set it up on. Makes it a lot easier. Alright, so let me push this back in and we'll stick our new brakes in. Alright, so here's the old pads. They don't have a wire like the front ones do, and these ones I bought, all of them came without a wire except for one, and I'm not sure why this is even on there, but we got that wire on there with a hole in that pad. And I looked at the other ones here and I don't see another hole in the pad, which is weird. So I think mine takes the more modern. This just has one plug here, so I'm not sure what this is off of. When you're buying aftermarket parts, you never know what you're getting sometimes. But they fit into the caliper, which is okay by me. And you can see this one doesn't have a hole in it either, like this one does. So don't know what that's all about. But it does have a place cut in here for me to put my wires. Now, I don't even see any wires on the back of this, so I don't think there's any wires on the back of this model here for the brake pads. But nevertheless, they'll fit in there. And if there is a wire that's supposed to be back here, well, all I can do is clip it in. But I'll deal with that later. I'll check the other side, see if I find a wire over there. If not, then more than likely, this probably doesn't have wires for the sensors on the back. So, anyway, put it together. Alright, so that's back in. Yeah, I know, make fun of a claw hammer. I've got a real hammer, but this is light. Alright, just don't forget to put your clip on, and basically we can go ahead and put these on, and should go on fairly easy. Of course, this rotor on this car is not very thick anyway, so we'll go ahead and bolt that on, and we'll do the other side. Alright, and just like that, pads on. I didn't put any wires on there because I'm not sure what's going on with those wires. No point in putting them on there and have them get destroyed. But nevertheless, we're good, so let's go do the other side. Alright, so after taking off this 8mm bolt that holds this sensor wire on here, guess what, boys and girls? The driver's side doesn't have a wire on the front or the back, but the passenger side, it has wires. So at least I have the right sensors for it. So yeah, I'm not sure why they're not on the driver's side, but that was interesting. So we'll put these pads in and we'll hook all this up and put a new sensor with it and finish up this side. So yep, there we go. Answers to my questions right there. Alright, so the pads aren't too bad on this side. Kind of wore down a little bit there, but nevertheless, we'll knock this pin out, change all this out, and at least I know where that goes. That goes right there on that. So at least that's where they have it, and that looks like that's probably the best excess place for it. So I'll remember to put it back just like that. Alright, so there we go. We just about got it back together, and the one I took off, of course, came with the new pad. Well, I had to drill that hole out a little bit so that wire would go down there, because my old wire that I took off of here wouldn't fit anyway. It only had one plug in it. It only has one little wire hole in it. If I can find it here, like that. And these have two. So I had to take my drill and drill a hole, clean that out, and put it all back together, and now we're ready to go ahead and tap this rest of the way in. And we're now pretty much ready to wrap this job up. Do you like Mercedes? Would you own one? We all know they're a money pit. Some people love them, I guess. Alright, and just like that, we're done. That's plugged in like it should. Interesting that driver's side, all the wires are missing over there. That is weird, but I started it up a little while ago, and the brake light is off now, so I don't know. Alright, so we're going to clean up here and put the wheel on it and take it for a ride and see how she feels and does, and finish up. Alright, before we take it for a spin, there's some of the carnage. A couple of wheel bearings, one of them there, tie rod end, all 4 brake pads, tie rod ends, and sway bar ends, so sway bar end links. So about $230 for the parts there. If you were taking this to the Mercedes dealer, well over $1,000. So patience and a little know-how certainly goes a long way, especially in your bank account. Alright, let's take her out for a ride and see how she sounds. Alright everyone, she's quiet. Just listen to how quiet it is. No check engine lights, brake lights off. So like I said, I'm going to have to see what's going on with that, those wires on the driver's side, why they're not there. I still think there should be a couple of wires at least on this side, but who knows, maybe I've made a mistake. But other than that, guys, we're done with the video. So thanks for watching all parts of 1, 2, and 3 if you did, and all that. And like I said, it's a nice little car, quiet on the inside, cruising about 40, and she's fairly straight down the highway. So until my next video, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you later.